This is Barry Zalma speaking for Claim School Incorporated's blog, Zalma on Insurance. Today we're speaking about what happens when you're found guilty of paying kickbacks and paying cappers to defraud insurers, and why a lawyer was convicted of workers' compensation fraud, only to find that some of the counts were done away with. In the People versus Jon Woods, the California Court of Appeals, on March 18, 2025, reversed parts of a jury conviction of Jon Woods on 37 felony counts of workers' compensation fraud. Woods was a workers' compensation attorney who had made business arrangements that involved unlawful kickbacks and referral fees. Woods contended that the Williamson's rule, in re Williamson, a 1954 decision of the California Supreme Court, precluded convictions on counts 5 through 37. The Williamson rule states that where the legislature has defined a specific crime with a lesser punishment, the conduct described by the crime may not be charged as a more general crime with a harsher punishment. Woods argued that his conduct was covered by a more specific statute, Labor Code Section 139.32, which makes it a misdemeanor to refer work to third-party servicers in exchange for compensation. The workers' compensation system is a scheme where employers agree to promptly compensate employees for injuries sustained on the job, regardless of fault, and employees agree to the limited remedies available under the scheme. The legislature passed laws to protect insurers and the overall workers' compensation system from abuse, including making it a crime to participate in a kickback scheme, which was the criminal conduct of Woods and his associates, Mr. Gonzalez and Mr. Arguello. Woods arranged with Edgar Gonzalez to use copy services business he owned called USA Photocopy, which provided subpoena services for workers' compensation attorneys. USA Photocopy paid for some of Woods' business expenses, including the salary of certain employees hired by Woods. Woods' arrangement with Arguello involved a marketing company that advertised to obtain workers' compensation clients. Using Arguello's copy service for subpoenas was a condition of engaging his advertising service. Woods paid Arguello's business $1,425,000 in fees for advertising services over the course of their relationship. Arguello eventually pleaded guilty to federal criminal charges relating to workers' compensation fraud and was sentenced to 4 years in federal prison. He also pleaded guilty to charges brought by the Orange County District Attorney. The Attorney General alleged 4 aspects of Woods' relationships with Gonzalez and Arguello that were illegal. These included operating as a runner or capper service, providing fully signed and retained clients prior to any interaction with Woods, a quid pro quo arrangement, and an illegal cross-referral service. After conviction, Woods was sentenced to 4 years in prison and ordered to pay restitution in the amount of $701,452. Woods appealed, and the court reversed counts 5 through 37 based on the Williamson rule. Woods contended that his conduct is covered by a more specific statute that criminalizes kickback schemes, which is what Woods was accused of participating in and charged under a felony statute, Penal Code Section 550. Absent some indication of legislative intent to the contrary, the Court of Appeals stated, the Williamson rule applies and there does not need to be perfect overlap between the general and the specific statutes. The people's theory of how Woods violated Penal Code Section 550 was precisely that he violated Labor Code Section 139.32, and therefore the court concluded that the Williamson rule applies. The Court of Appeals agreed with Woods under these circumstances and thus reversed his conviction only on counts 5 through 37. By so doing, the court also was required to reverse the white-collar sentencing enhancement based on these charges, as well as restitution based on those charges, so that the restitution order was reversed without prejudice to the court reassessing restitution at a new sentencing hearing. In all other respects, the judgment was affirmed. A lawyer committing fraud, taking advantage of the workers' compensation system, where his crimes resulted in more than $1 million in kickbacks and papers and payment for cappers who illegally signed up clients for Woods, was important and disturbing. The court only found that the state overcharged Woods and required him to serve an appropriate sentence for his fraud on the workers' compensation system, the employers and their insurers, jail, and an appropriate amount of restitution to the defrauded insurers should be assessed. This video was adapted from my blog, Zalma on Insurance, which is available free to anyone who clicks on the URL zalma.com/blog. You can subscribe at that site, and if you do, you'll receive notice of every blog posting, usually 5, sometimes 6 a week. You can also subscribe to these videos on rumble.com and on youtube.com, and if you do, I'd appreciate it if you click on the like button on YouTube and the thumbs up button on rumble.com. Please tell your friends and colleagues about this blog and the videos so that they too can subscribe. And if you're interested in further detail about insurance, insurance claims, insurance law, and insurance fraud, please consider, for a very small fee, subscribing to my Substack publication. Thank you for your attention.